when you wake up, usually it was a process. I had to learn not to just push all the information on Lexie, but I had to take my time and little by little just plant little seeds. Like the way that they trick you into being the witness is how you get tricked out.
He asked me a question. He had me look at the scripture with 144,000. And he asked me a very simple question. I'm searching jw.org trying to find like why they take this scripture. And it's probably one of the first times where I've sat there and thought like, this could be wrong.
This is Seeds of Awakening, your home for higher frequency religious and spiritual conversations. I'm your host of Money Channel. So today's guest is actually a couple named Jeven and Lexie Sly, also known as Awaken Truths. You've probably seen their content online if you're a fan of XJW content. But this couple has an interesting story because Jeven actually helped wake Lexie up and explains exactly how he did so. Because I found that it's actually really challenging and almost impossible to wake anybody up. So I'm going to share his story in just a second, but first make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, help others find this content, smash the like, that's the best way you can pay it forward. All right, so let's bring Awaken Truths in. Looking forward to this conversation, and they're going to join us right now. We got Jeven and Lexie Sly in the house. You guys recently got married too, so congratulations on that.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that. What's
Yes, I'm super excited to have you guys. So I've been watching you on YouTube for a while, and now you finally made some time, so I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime.
So let's just kind of bounce the questions off between both of you guys. We can start off with whoever wants to answer this, but where are you from and tell me about your childhood.
Okay.
All right, want me to start?
Yeah.
All right, I'm from a small city called Dayton, Ohio. And let's see, man, my mother was disfellowship growing up, but she grew up a Jehovah's Witness. My dad was never a witness, so you can kind of put two and two together on the math behind that. So childhood was pretty cool. I think with us, my mom being disfellowship had its pros and cons, but we had a little more freedom. So we were like what people consider like the memorial witness. You know what I mean? Like we went to the memorial, the meetings here and there every once in a while, but not often. And then like the conventions and sometimes assemblies. And it wasn't until we were a little older to where we were with our grandparents a little more, the elder granddad, the pioneer grandmother, and the rest of her siblings were in. So that's when we kind of would go to meetings when we were over their house and my mom was at work. But I still got to do like sports growing up and still hang with my friends in the neighborhood or friends at school. And it wasn't until I got a little older, which we'll get into later, is when I kind of got more into the religion.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then for me, I was born in like Moon Township, Pennsylvania. It's close to Pittsburgh. That's usually where I say I'm from, is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was a third generation Jehovah's Witness. So, but just like Jeven, like my mom was disfellowshipped for a while during our childhood. So we did at some points get to experience like a Halloween here and there or like a Christmas here and there. And then I remember she told us this story that she had a like a nightmare that the world was ending and everything. So it pushed her to go back to to the religion. And so she started going back to the religion. We obviously followed. And I would say that probably my strongest years as a Jehovah's Witness was like, I don't know, probably from like 11 years old until my teenage years, like 18, 19, 20, that area. And I basically got baptized when I was 15, I think 15 going on 16 or 16, one of those two.
Okay, so how did you end up getting baptized?
Let's see. I was either about to turn 20 or 21. I was about to turn 20. So I started studying when I was 19 years, around that time. So by then, we were going to the meetings a little more often, but I just didn't want to do it. And I didn't really fit in with the witness kids. They were a lot more, I guess, straight and narrow. And I just like to have a good time. Like, you know, this being a teenager, and the rules was real strict. So around that time, I start seeing like a lot of people my age like going to jail or losing their life, and I figure like I wonder if it's because I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, because the witness kids don't go through stuff like that. So around that time, my grandmother and them always were trying to push. You need to join the school. You need to go on service. When you gonna do this? So it was the constant nagging. It's like, all right, I'll give this a try. And so I started studying with my grandmother. And right after that, it was time for the convention coming up. So I studied my questions real quick and got baptized. And yeah, it was already starting off because a lot of the people my age I started getting cool with, they were all baptized. And you think you found like a group of friends, of genuine people. So that's kind of how the baptism went.
Yeah. I think for me too, what I was gonna say is like with my childhood portion at least, like my dad was in prison for most of my childhood. So it's almost like whenever we were in the organization and in the religion, everybody kind of flocked towards us and wanted to kind of take us like under their wing because they're like, okay, like she's missing, you know, the spiritual head of her household. So my Bible study teacher was a very exemplary pioneer woman married to an elder, and she was like strict and by the book. So that's the example that I really had to cling on to as far as like Jehovah's Witnesses went. So she didn't play any games, and I'll say she brought in probably, I don't know, 50% of the Kingdom Hall that we were in.
Dang,
Yeah, she brought in a lot of people.
that's OD.
Yeah, witnesses need more of her because I think the numbers are not going in that direction these days.
You're right. It's starting to flop.
Yeah,
So how did you two end up dating then?
so do you want to start? You want me to
Yeah,
start?
you can start this one.
Back whenever we started dating, there was a thing called JW Twitter. So I think that I'm sure it's still a thing. But anyway, we basically met on there. Like we would kind of see each other's like posts, and one day he what happened? You asked me where I was from or something like that. We found out that it was only 4 hours away from each other. So he came to see me one weekend, and that was kind of that story. We just never stopped hanging out ever since that weekend.
Yeah.
There was some sort of rule against how you guys met. I mean, on the internet and traveling to see each other back
Oh
before.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the
Oh
thing.
yeah.
A lot of witnesses back then, especially like witnesses get to an age in their 20s where some are like real straight and narrow, and then some are like you supposed to widen out. So it's like, well, shoot, we live in this state. We met some people, this Jehovah's Witnesses, to live
In
here
this
in
state.
this state. We should hang out. So they start doing like get-togethers and
Yep.
parties, and some were straight and narrow, like there has to be elders here at this get-together. Some people like, man, we just young people kicking it.
Yep. I
Yeah.
will say that we knew a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses growing up in different states. So like we would travel to see them in Virginia,
Mhm.
DC, Maryland, Florida, like all of the cities, Ohio,
Chicago,
Kentucky,
Detroit.
Chicago. Yeah, all of those like cities surrounding up there. We would all just travel back and forth to meet each other and go to parties. They'd have themed parties and house parties and stuff. So we really got to see and experience, I think, a side of Jehovah's Witnesses that kids who were more sheltered did not get to see and experience. And they're really all the same.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because most witnesses don't have that experience, like have not met other witnesses from other states, don't go party or hang out with them. When I was growing up, I would go hang out with the witnesses in my congregation, but definitely not from other states. So that's kind of unusual.
Oh yeah, we went to
Yeah.
different states. We would meet people from different like especially the district conventions. I think they call them regional conventions now, but those were like a huge thing because like okay, my friend knows this person, so we would all meet. I remember when we went to the international convention in where was it at? Was it in Detroit? I think it was in Detroit, wherever you can see
Okay.
Niagara Falls from. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, it was in Detroit. So when we went there, we met a whole bunch of people, even from different countries. And
Yeah.
so we really got to experience a different side of the organization, I say.
Yeah, definitely. I think something else like so let's see, 2013 I got baptized, and I was like a real strong witness for about a year, and it just got to where it's like stop listening to rap music. You stop. I never completely cut off like my childhood friends. That just never sat right with me. So of course you hang with the witnesses and you still keep in touch with people, but I got burnt out and I just couldn't be the extra strict witness. So little by little I kind of stopped following the rules like the super witnesses, and I was disfellowship 2016.
Yep.
And when I came back, like that time being out, you realize you get to take a break. Like I don't have to study and raise my hand. I don't have to go in field service. But my grandmother being sick at the time was like what pushed me to get back within a year. But coming back, you see like the way people treat you is not the love that they tell you. And it just, a lot of people that got this fellowship and came back, it's not the same. So just even being back as a Jehovah's Witness, I didn't really care to reach out or want to serve with a need is greater like I did before. So around this same time is when me and Lexie met. So it opened your eyes to seeing what type of witnesses you surround yourself with. The ones who were extra spiritual kind of look down on you like, no, you were this fellowship time back. So I got to look at you different. And then you had the ones who also may have experienced that. And so with us meeting people our ages, you tend to hang around people that are more like you. That was another thing about traveling around and meeting people.
That's so true. Because at the time that we met each other, he was coming out of like being disfellowshipped and coming back into the organization. And I had just been reproved, like somewhere in that area, privately reproved, not publicly. But even that kind of put a damper on like how I was feeling and how I was viewing the organization. And I was also in nursing school at the time. So like right before nursing school, I was super zealous and I was always out in service and things like that. I was getting at least 20 to 30 hours every month. And so like once I went back into went into nursing school, you don't have as much time to be going out in service and everything. So I realized that there were a lot of my friends that I considered to be my close friends. They like wanted to kind of stop talking to me because they felt like I was putting too much attention and time towards schooling. And it's like, no, that's not what I literally just don't have any time. You know what I mean? Like I can't be out 3 days a week anymore in service. Like I have to do this.
Yeah, true. You notice like with a lot of the friends, because when I was coming into, baptism and everything, my peers were already baptized. But before I got this fellowship, one by one, they all were getting this fellowship. And not knowing at the time, they woke up. So we was all this fellowship together, hanging out. And I'm the one that went back, but they never came back. So then you realize like, this is not even my original witness friend groups. And I'm supposed to act like these people don't exist no more like that.
Right. That was crazy.
Yeah, that doesn't sit right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. So you guys met, you guys were 4 hours apart. How did you guys come together? Like what brought you guys together? Like when did you guys know you want to be a couple, move in with each other and that sort of thing? And you guys are so witnesses when you guys made that move, correct?
Yes,
Right.
we were.
How'd that work out?
And like we said, we were at a point where people would probably consider us to have been like spiritually weak. So it probably took about how long before we moved in together?
Let's see. We started dating right at New Year's of 2019, going into 2019.
Yeah.
So like right before COVID, maybe?
2018 going into 2019.
Yeah.
So at first we were just driving back and forth to see each other. Like it would be like every weekend, and I was working 12-hour shifts. So like sometimes I would get like multiple days off. So I would just go and see him and stay there for like a week at a time sometimes.
Yeah.
And we did that for how long? Maybe
up until May of 2020. So by this time
so about a year.
Yeah, about a year. And we were already burnt out on meetings. It was just going because you got to be there. And we went to a couple meetings together, but not realizing at the moment I'm burnt out. But as a witness, you can't tell other witnesses like, man, I'm tired of this.
Right.
Yeah.
She's kind of burnt out. So
I can't say that.
Yeah,
if I'm thinking that there's something wrong with me, like I need to get back to how I was before, like before I was feeling this way, like I need to get back to how I was before I got privately reproved. And at this time, I'm still having, you have like when you're privately reproved, like they make you do check-in meetings, like every so many months or whatever. So they gave me my privileges back and allowed me to start commenting again and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, that felt more like a burden than it did a relief. I was kind of happy to not have to have the weight of like, you need a comment type of stuff. So
yeah, it's a lot, especially for the brothers. Once I got my privileges back, it's like we want to work you into being a servant. It's like, man, I don't want to do all that, man. Like that's especially when you work, you got a job all day and then you got to get off work and do other duties for free.
Yep.
Like nobody really wants to do that.
Yep. So we're starting the Zoom meetings. Like we only attended meetings in person, like you said, maybe 2 or 3 times. I think we had one assembly in there, and then everything switched over to online. So that was
because of COVID. So it was like around 2020 by this time, or
yeah.
it was like
It was like the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2020, something like that.
Right.
Okay.
So, oh my gosh, that was a huge catalyst, like a huge catalyst for us, I think, because even the memorial, I remember that year, it was the first time we did like an online Zoom memorial.
Yeah.
And I was so just, I felt disconnected. I felt like I could actually hear the words that were coming out of their mouth without all the fuzz. You know what I mean? Like all of that fog kind of cleared. And I just wasn't feeling it anymore.
Nah.
And I think even whenever we would attend the Zoom meetings together, there were times where like he would be like all dressed and everything. And I'm like, I'm not getting dressed. And I would turn my camera off and I would just be sitting there like laying in bed listening.
Right. And I'm just trying to set the example.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. And then we ended up moving in together, what, 20 in
That's
the
tough.
middle of 2020.
May 2020 going to June.
Yep. And I remember one of the elders had called me. Obviously, I'm missing meetings by this point. I never have the camera on whenever I do the Zoom calls. And he's like, you know, you're not supposed to be moving in with somebody like you're baptized, you know, that whole thing.
Right.
I just remember kind of breaking down on the phone and I was just like, you know what? None of you guys are helping me in the situation that I'm in right now. So I'm going to do whatever is the best for my life. And that was that.
Yeah, and around that time, my grandmother passed away in 2019.
Yep.
So that kind of divided the family up. So she was always the one at the meeting, like, you don't have no lines in your magazine. What happened? But other than that, like my granddad would say stuff here and there, but she was the main one. But once she was gone, it was like, I don't really have that pressure of somebody forcing me to do this, because that's kind of the backbone of me getting baptized in the first place, was the constant, you need to do this and that.
Yep.
So yeah, then me slowly missing meetings. At first you feel guilty, you miss one meeting, like, man, I missed the meeting. I could have went, you know, people crawling through waters with crocodiles in it and other places, and all I gotta do is drive down the street. Like, you feel guilty, but it's like more they will warn you, like, you can't miss meetings because it becomes easier. And they right, because after a while, it's like, you know what, man,
Yep.
I'll make it on Sunday. And after a while, it became to where I didn't care to miss meetings. I was missing more than I was making it. And then moving to another state was like, I ain't got to answer to nobody now.
Yeah. So he moved to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Together up there for it was about 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2 years. And then we moved to Atlanta. But even whenever we were up there, yeah, that's where he woke up, was whenever we moved in together and we're living in Pennsylvania. And he's the one who woke up first.
Yeah.
And that was, oh my gosh, that was such a time, because I just remember that time period where I'm like, is he battling grief? Like, what is going on? Because there was a disconnect between us that I felt, you know what I mean? Like, something is not the same. Are you okay? Like, what's going on? And I'm thinking it's because he moved to a new state, like he's grieving his grandmother, all these things. Meanwhile, he's going through this whole awakening process on his own while living in a new state.
Yeah.
So explain how that process works when you're with another witness? Because I mean, a lot of couples they're not on the same page when it comes to like one witness getting out of the truth, one being in the organization. How did that work out for you guys?
Man, so I want to say, after returning to the organization after being disfellowship, it was like I still believed it was the truth and everything. But at the same time, I would watch like a lot of podcasts and interviews, like Godfrey the comedian, people like that. And I will never forget this. Asking my family like Black history, because I'm like, what were we before slavery? Oh, I don't know. And they were just cool with that. So I didn't realize subconsciously that was something I always wondered about. So when you think and have things on your conscience, you will start to attract that. So that's where I start coming across these random interviews of stuff that doesn't align with the Kingdom Hall. Like, life began in Africa. We the original people. And I'm like, the book of Bible story book don't show that. So then it's like you always side with the organization.
Yeah.
So then learning more about history. Now I'm sitting in the meetings and it's like, here's Samson, and it's like a white guy with braids. And I'm just like trying to battle this in my head, like, maybe I'm tripping. Like, the organization is right. And so going to the meetings and realizing this stuff I don't agree with, but I can't admit that I don't agree with it. And it wasn't until that summer coming up when it was the convention, and I'm already missing meetings. And it was a sister we know, Mama Shy, and she was a white sister. And she said, you notice that the governing body doesn't really have any black people except one, and then a lot of the brothers that gave the convention speech. And I was like, I noticed that. And she was like, well, look at this video. And she sent me the very first apostate video. It was by what's his name? Irregular Pioneer. Yeah, and I watched it, and that feeling of the first time you got the courage to actually watch it, you just worried about some evil demon jumping on you or making you crazy like all the other apostates.
Yep.
And watching it, it's like it clicked. I'm like, this, everything I'm thinking back to my family being like, well, we don't know the answers, or my grandmother being like, oh, we came from Moses. Like that's it. It was like a curse for Moses, and then we popped up. And I'm like, this makes perfect sense. So I'm looking at all the older doctrines that Jehovah's Witnesses used to teach, and I'm like, this is no different from the ignorant stuff they push in the world. They pushing it in this organization with the history of it. Like, this is crazy. And at the same time we living together, I found that video, and then I came across JT from XJW Critical Thinker, and him just showing the doctrines. And I'm going to checking, JW facts that they told us not to look at. And I'm like, this is not made up. This is old publications.
Yeah.
But I do remember coming across a video on how to break it to other witnesses. So this is something we also share with people. When you wake up, usually it was a process. You weren't a zealous witness and just woke up. Usually it's things that's on your conscience that you don't agree with, that you just push, don't think about it. You may slow down, you may be missing meetings.
Yeah.
And over time, you are willing to look at something. The problem is we take that approach and we go to somebody who don't even realize something is wrong. And we say, look at this. What about that? Did you know that? And your instant reaction as a Jehovah's Witness is you questioning the organization. You questioning Jehovah.
Yep.
This is evil. Get away from me. So I had to learn not to just push all the information on Lexie, but I had to take my time and little by little just plant little seeds. Like, you got kind of have to play the way that they trick you into being the witness is how you get tricked out. You don't come in somebody's door like your grandma ain't in heaven and your church is wrong. No, you just, oh, you read the Bible? That's nice.
So good.
We read the Bible too. Let's read it together. And then after a while, we even brought you a Bible instead of just snatching a Bible and giving them. So it's the same way with coming out. It's like, man, I don't understand this scripture here, which Lexia explained kind of how she got out. But instead of being like, this is wrong, just be like, man, I don't understand this. What do you think? And give them a different perspective to kind of think on their own for them to realize it don't make sense. And then just kind of leave it. Then you may come back later like, man, what about this? And
that's exactly how that happened, because like I said, I knew something was going on with him, and he asked me a question. He had me look at the scripture with 144,000, and he asked me a very simple question. He said, is this number symbolic or is it literal? And I'm like, it's literal. Like, hello, you don't act like you don't know this. You know what I mean? Like it's literal. He's like, so why is it that all the surrounding scriptures around this scripture is symbolic? And I was just sitting there like, well, I don't know, but I'll find an answer. You have to go to jw.org, find the answer on how they came to this conclusion. So I'm searching jw.org, trying to find like why they take this scripture. And it's probably one of the first times where I've sat there and thought like, this could be wrong. You know what I mean? But to me, it was just that doctrine, right? So I'm like, okay, so maybe they're wrong with the 144,000, but this is still the governing body. This is still the truth. This is still an organization that's led by the Most High Jehovah. That was all that thinking. And slowly but surely, I can't even describe the process completely that I went through, but that was a moment that allowed me to wake up and look at things through a magnifying glass instead of looking at it as this is the truth because I told you it's the truth.
Yeah. It was a video we watched going back to Dayton. And I remember
XJW Critical Thinking video.
Yeah, and it showed the governing body how they changed the name of the corporation. It was like Watchtower Track Society, and then they changed it to somebody else, which was a business move. And that way they can shift everything on the elders. Like the elders are in charge. But the plot twist was the elders in charge are picked by the governing body. So that's when Lexie was able to see, like, wait a minute, this
is a business.
Like it's a business. It's not just some religion. It's all about money and power.
Yeah. And so then I was like, okay, well, it's a religion, but it's still, led by the Most High type of mentality. But what really sealed the deal and was like the icing on the cake was whenever I seen the Australian Royal Commission and I seen, Jeffrey Jackson say that it'd be like presumptuous to think that they're the only vessel of communication between like us and God. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what do you mean? So this means that any of these other religions could be true.
Well,
And then
there's the Pope. There's all sorts of religions. You never know.
exactly. So that sent me down that rabbit hole. And then I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so you guys started a YouTube channel at some point and then started shifting to XJW content. How'd that come about?
Man, so that we woke up 2020, we
yeah.
moved to Atlanta, and because this whole time we weren't making content or nothing like that.
Yep.
We moved to Atlanta March 1st of 2022.
So we would make a video here and there about different things. Like at this point, we were away from the organization for one. We had a different mentality. We were like, all right, let's do our thing out here. Let's, get in. He was a fitness trainer, so we would do videos about that.
Yeah, we did a couple like relationship tips, but it wasn't nothing consistent. It was like, hey, let's do a video, and we would put it out. It wasn't really no views, so it kind of snowballed from I was doing workout videos as a trainer, and I got burnt out, and I'm like, man, there's only so many videos you could do, and I always had ideas about stuff, but never thought to talk about it on camera until one day it was a girl. She had a TikTok and a YouTube channel. Her YouTube channel didn't really have any subscribers, but her TikTok did. She did a video called Why I Left Jehovah's Witnesses, and it had like 50,000 views on it. And she didn't have a lot of subscribers, but I was like, we should do a video about how we used to be Jehovah's Witnesses, just tell the story. Like, because we did videos here and there, so we did it, and that's like what took off on YouTube, and a bunch of XJWs came and flooded, like, y'all got to do more videos, like, we enjoyed this. So we were like, all right, we got more stories to talk about. That was just like a random video, and so we just didn't stop after that.
That's so true. And it started off as just us telling like our own experiences and what we experienced while being Jehovah's Witnesses. And I think both of us can agree when we say that we know more now about the organization than we ever did when we were Jehovah's Witnesses. And even in the first couple of years of us waking up, like we know more about them now.
Yeah, facts.
Wow. So, where's y'all? I know you guys recently got married, so congratulations on that. But where you guys now with your spirituality, with what you guys believe in, that sort of thing?
So you want to start?
Sure. I always I say that I'm an omnist. So I believe that there are truth pieces within all religions, but I don't believe a single religion to be the truth. I think that it's heavily dependent on, where you were born in the world, what things you were taught. And I think that you can find your answers in any of these places, because truly, I think we all have our own spiritual journeys, our own spiritual paths. Even whenever I look back to my spiritual journey, I don't regret being a Jehovah's Witnesses because it led me to be right here at this present moment, So I don't know if we would have ever met. Like it's all a domino effect in life, right? So that's how I view religion. Now, as far as spirituality, I think that you can find God in anything. You could find God out in nature when you're taking your walk, whenever, like, the truth is we don't have the answers of what's going to happen to us whenever, we die, or what, like all of these big existential questions that we have as humans. None of us have the true answer. All of us have just theories of what we believe may happen, or what kind of experiences we have had. So that's how I feel about religion and about spirituality. But we all have our own practices that we do daily. And I subscribe more to like universal laws of attraction, karma. Those are things that I believe in.
Yeah. And I'm kind of the same way. I look at what I started doing is I just start backtracking everything. And even like with Christianity, I was always taught, as a Jehovah's Witness, this is the beginning. But as I started to backtrack, I realized like, dang, a lot of religions are kind of new, and it was stuff that existed way before that.
Yeah.
So my question with people will be, if this started a couple thousand years ago, people been here 50,000 plus, what was going on?
What were they doing before? Right.
Yeah, what was in here?
How did they get here? How were they on the earth, really?
Yeah, that's
Right.
like the $1 million question, and people can never really answer that. And then I realized there's 4,000 different religions,
Oh,
45,000 different types of Christians. So everybody feels like I'm right, the other thousands are wrong, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
teaching. So I kind of seen a pattern that our memory goes back to around 2 years old, and that's it. And so we come in here, school grooms us to be a certain way, your parents, society, and you are not really being your authentic self. You are just doing what you're taught. And
Mm-hmm.
some of us wake up and go, well, wait a minute, let me find my own answers. And so we're all searching for something. And humans have found a way to pimp each other because it's like, I see you looking for answers. Come here. I got the answer
I
for
got
you,
the answer.
but
yeah.
but make sure you pay me because I have a connection to something that you don't. So listen to
And
me.
and make sure that you don't read any other information or learn anything else other than what I tell you to learn.
Yup.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you see that pattern, like, well, everybody's kind of talking about the same thing with a different twist. So I just believe in the freedom of whatever works on your journey. And
Yeah.
I don't, just because I believe in something, I don't have the rights to go tell everybody else, y'all wrong, you need to do what I'm doing.
Yep.
And my group is the best group, and this is why, and everybody else is wrong. No, everybody, and you may be a part of a religion just for a time period to lead you to some different answers. So I don't believe that somebody in the sky gave somebody a book of rules and told everybody you need to follow this book, because the book should be simple enough to where if our life depend on it, we should come up with the same answer. Yet we come up with one book. Now
Have
we
a
got
whole bunch of
45,
different interpretations
yeah,
of
we
a
got
whole.
45,000 different answers that claim to be right, but they
Yep.
contradict. So I'm like, I believe in spirituality and just the freedom to figure out what works on your journey. But I don't believe in a selected group that's better than everybody else, because we all, no group doesn't get sick and everybody else gets sick, or one is able to get rich and everybody else can't get rich. Everybody goes through the same motions regardless of what group you're in. So I always explain it like religion is like taking the ocean and taking different water bottles, Dasani, Aquafina, all these bottles, and putting the ocean water in each bottle. It's the exact same water in every bottle. It's just a different type of bottle. And that's people. We are all the same thing, just individuals inside different groups, but we claim to be different. No, we the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what
Mhm.
spirituality kind of is.
Were you guys ever disfellowshipped when you guys started living together, or were you just kind of living together off the grid, kind of fading away?
I gotta answer your phone call to get this fellowship. I stopped talking to them. So
Me
I don't,
too.
yeah, yes, because it was like a power dynamic of the elders. Like the elders always spook people. All them.
Yep.
Brother,
Yeah.
can we talk to you after the meeting? Like that's how it made people feel. And I realized like you only got power in this building, but when you leave here, you go to work, you don't get to tell somebody what to do, or on the street, you don't get to tell somebody what to do. Like I'm an elder. Like, what is that?
Yep.
But so I realized like they are just humans that have these fake titles. So I don't have to answer the phone call. I don't have to explain to you why I'm leaving.
Yep.
I'm a grown man just like this grown man. So
Yeah.
I'm not this fellowship that I know of. I ain't been to no meeting or nothing like that.
If we are disfellowship, we wouldn't know.
Yep.
Somebody would have to tell us.
For real.
All right, so we're talking to Jeven and Lexie Sly about their exit from the Josephus organization. I'm curious to know, what is your family's reaction? How have they sort of taken your new lifestyle?
All right, want to go first?
Okay, so it kind of seemed like my immediate family, like my sisters and my mom, they were already kind of hanging on by a thread. Like they didn't want to be a part of it either. So my sister never got back, both of my younger sisters, they never got baptized. So they're like us, right? And then my mom, I feel like she was always going back more so because of the guilt and other people telling her that that is the right way. But she is really the first person to have planted any kind of seeds in me that this may not be the truth. I remember even whenever I was about to be baptized, when I told her I was going to get baptized, she was like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" And I remember being so angry at her, like, "How can you even ask me that?" But you have to remember, I also had one of the most zealous and spiritual, like Bible study teachers. So
Right.
that's where I was taking my example from, not my mom. But yeah, she's been had like different ideas of spirituality and things like that, but never was able to, I guess, fully embrace it. So that's them. And then my grandparents are the ones that are like, they were like first generation on both sides. So my grandma on my dad's side, and then my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side. And my grandpa is elder, so he didn't come to like our wedding or anything like that. And grandma, she's a stubborn Hispanic woman, so she's gonna do whatever is good for the family.
Yep. Yep. And on my side, let's see, my mom, she's still disfellowship to this day, but they go to the meetings. Just, I think it's more of a family tradition. Don't want
A
to
habit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't want to disappoint my granddad, but my mom still lives her life. My younger sister never got baptized. And so once I woke up, I wasn't really vocal about it like that. It wasn't, our family didn't find out until we started making content.
Yeah.
So my mom and sister, like, we just don't talk about religion, but our relationship is the same. But my granddad, we stopped, they kicked me out the family group chat and everything. So my granddad is just now coming around and like reached out because he would just reach out just to mail some publications and tracts and all that, and I just wouldn't reply because it's like I told my uncle and my aunt, like when I woke up, stop trying to make me be who I'm not. I don't push my beliefs on y'all, but since I was young, y'all always tried to force me to be somebody else I'm not. And
Mhm.
they need to understand how to respect boundaries. I don't hit y'all up like y'all need to stop going to the hall and this, and that. So don't hit me up trying to force me to go to the hall. So my
Right.
I have one aunt, so my mom has three siblings, a brother, two sisters. My uncle, he'll check in every once in a while, like if I'm on FaceTime with my mom and he's there, he'll stick his head in and say, hey, but don't reach out. His kids don't reach out, except for the one that's woke up. I have one cousin.
Hmm.
And then my other aunt, she was disfellowship 3 different times. And she's still in, but she's like cordial. So we still keep in touch. We just don't talk about religion. My other aunt, we don't talk at all. Her and her husband were the pioneers slash elder Bethelites and all that. So we don't talk at all. And yeah, so my granddad's siblings that's in the organization and their kids don't talk to them no more. But I look at it as if a religion can cause you not to talk to your own family, then are we really family then?
Right.
Yeah.
Or is it a religion you need to be in if they make you do that?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how have you guys sort of dealt with the different family dynamics? Like, has it been kind of scarring on you, or kind of like whatever they decide to do? Because it seems like you guys are so normal.
I think we've given a lot of freedom to people's journeys.
Mhm.
And I think that we've found peace in the fact that everybody has a different journey. I'm not trying to take you out of where you're at right now. You know what I mean? Because we get comments sometimes like, we need to be like waking people up and stuff. That's not our viewpoint and that's not our
Yeah.
belief. And
No.
that's not what we ever came on the internet to do, is to wake people up. But if that happens while you're watching our content, it's not because of us, it's because of you. It was already in you to
Yeah.
be led onto this journey. And we have been able to serve here as somebody who doesn't make you feel so crazy, right? But it's never our intention to be like, you need to come out of this, you need to come out of this. No, like, I respect the journey, whatever point that leads you to, whatever life that leads you to,
For sure. We just have to put ourselves in their shoes because there was a point in time if you tried to tell me what I'm talking about, I wasn't gonna listen to you. Everybody claims to be open-minded, but in reality, especially inside of that organization, you're
Yeah.
not open-minded. Your thoughts are just repeating what somebody told you to say. We all had the same rebuttals. The organization does this. What do we say? Oh, they're imperfect. Like, but you didn't come up with that on your own. You were given a script. If somebody
Yeah.
says this, say that. So you have to think of how we woke up.
Yeah.
We didn't wake up because somebody knocked on our door and was like, stop going to the hall. We felt some type of way already, like something ain't right.
Mhm.
And then once something was presented, we decided to look at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, same thing with us and dealing with others. We understand certain family members are where we were at once upon a time. We were brainwashed.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And I think another thing is we've really tried to relinquish control of things that are not in our control. So
Facts.
I'm not like, we don't want to force somebody to do something that's not aligned with them yet,
Yeah.
just in general. That's just how we live our life.
Yeah.
That's a great way to look at things. All right. So the $1 million question is: you guys think the Witness organization is a cult?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
By far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Oh,
Man.
there's many signs.
We did a video called 10 Signs of a Cult, and we'll just share a couple of them. One is cults have a human leader. And I remember seeing that in a reasoning book like if somebody says Jehovah's Witnesses is a cult,
Mhm.
tell them a cult has a human leader. We
Yeah.
don't have that, but you got to think about it. 2 years ago, no witness had a beard. They didn't wake up one day and get a beard. Who gave them permission?
Yep.
Some dude said, "Hey, y'all can wear a beard,"
Yep.
or they couldn't toast until somebody said, "Now y'all can toast.
Yep.
Now you can wear this. Now you don't have to do that." So it's a crazy coincidence that in cults you have a leader. This is another point. They have access to information that the members don't. Nobody else can say, "Hey, Jehovah, can we grow a beard?" Get an answer and then do it. No, you got to go to the brothers and they say, "We'll let you know later. We're gonna go in this room and talk to Jehovah,
Mhm.
see what he say, and then we're gonna come back."
Yep. And then also the fact that they're able to impede on so many aspects of your life to where this has to be the one priority, this thing that's giving us the benefit of getting your money, getting access to your time, getting access to
Mhm.
all of these things that you offer. And that has to be number one, to the point where you put your career on the back burner, you put your family on the back burner, like everything comes second to this religion.
That's that extreme loyalty. So even
Yep.
if your life is on the line and you need a blood transfusion,
Yep.
we said you can't do it, or you got family. Your loyalty don't go to your family, to your kids. I said don't talk to them, so you listen to what I said.
Yep.
And another one is they discredit former members.
Oh,
So if
yeah.
any former members, doesn't matter. You could be a Jehovah's Witness for 2 years, and this person was in it for 40 years.
Yeah.
Oh, they crazy. Don't listen to what they talking about. All the members don't look online.
Mhm.
They're demonized.
Yup, yeah. So any members that were once a part of it, you're not supposed to listen to them.
Those are all signs of a cult.
Yeah.
So also whenever people look up, what is it, fog?
Fear, obligation, and guilt.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. If you just do research on cults and different signs of it, you'll see that it aligns with what cults are.
Yeah.
And it just is. Doesn't make it right or wrong, but it is.
Yeah, for real.
Well, I have to say, you guys are really blessed to have woken up together and that you guys are still together and holding it strong. I do commend you for that.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Appreciate it.
All right, so I have some common questions that I like to ask all my guests. I'll kind of modify them for our conversation. So
Okay.
what would you say to any Jehovah's Witness who may be starting to wake up or maybe having some questions about the organization? What would be your advice to them?
All right. I tell them that you are not on the time limit on how quick you got to figure this out. And you don't owe anybody an explanation. That's a very important part, because you are always taught to explain yourself as a Jehovah's Witness. If you miss a meeting, I was sick and my car broke. Like, man, you don't have to say why you wasn't here. You got your own life going on.
Yep.
The elders, you don't have, if you were slowing down or something like that, you don't owe them an explanation. And we always feel like that. So even when people leave, it's up to you. You can tell them why you're leaving, or you could choose not to. But you were always told you need to explain everything about yourself to us, and you better tell us the truth. So you can take your time, and if you aren't ready to let everybody know that you don't believe in this,
You don't have to.
You don't have
ever
to.
have to. You know what I mean? This is so personal to each person. You know what I mean? So like I would tell people to just keep learning. You'll find your answers. Keep digging, keep learning. Maybe you won't find your answers. You know what I mean? But I think that you should welcome the idea of having new information.
for real.
Great answer. Okay, the next question for you guys is, what's the most valuable lesson have you learned so far in life?
I know mine.
I was gonna say question everything.
And I was gonna say, the more you learn, the less you know.
Yup.
That is one of the most valuable things that I have learned. So it makes you see things clear for everybody. If somebody comes to me and they're so gung-ho about this is right, this is the only truth, blah, 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 then I know you haven't researched enough.
No. It's information. You can never read enough books. Because even if you finish your book collection, you'll come across more. It's like, man, now I don't even know what this is. And it's like, it was that chart. It was like things you know was a small part. Things you don't know was another small part. And the rest of it was things you don't know you don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so the last question is, if you were having a conversation with the XJW, or maybe somebody who's questioning things, what would you tell them is the next step for them in terms of waking up? What do they need to do?
What do they need to do as far as waking up? So is this like somebody that's already realized it's not the truth and they're on their way out?
Just whatever the situation is. We won't put any limits on it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll say somebody that is just waking up, look at mostly the things they told you not to look at is the things you should look at first. And I'm learning that get to the root of every problem. Ask why. We always just follow what somebody says, and that's just that. Don't do this. Well, ask why can't we do this? And even something as far as like the fear they put in this. Realize what do they get out of putting this fear in me? We don't think to go that far with the things that they control us with. So what do you get out of this?
Yep.
Because a lot of the times people will go, well, why would they lie about that? Why wouldn't they lie about that?
Yep.
Dig a little deeper, and this is how you find the answers to life. So many things are normalized, and nobody thinks to give it a second opinion.
Yep. And I think I'm gonna kind of come in the more practical route and say if you are relying on anybody to the point where your housing or any of those kinds of things can be taken away from you if you learn about this information or if you come out as learning about this kind of information, because we know so many people who have like woken up or are starting to question things, who are like kids, like teenagers, young adults, and do not yet have their own like finances in order or anything like that. What I would say is put yourself in position to be able to be dependent on yourself. Now you have the freedom to be out of survival mode and having to be here because you need a house to live, or having to be here because you need to be able to eat, right? So take yourself out of that space and put yourself in a position to just be able to win. So now you get to make the decision that this is not for you.
I like that. I got a combination of both answers now.
Very good. I'll just hear it.
Yeah, so combining the idea of asking why and the fear, and then what you saying to prepare ourselves for things. Say that a person that's 17, doesn't have anything saved up, is living at home with a witness family, right?
Yep.
You were always taught that you have to explain why. You actually don't. So it was the guilt of you need to tell us what you got going on, and Jehovah gonna punish you.
Yep.
Once you understand, I'm not gonna be punished for following, not going with what a cult is telling me, and the elders have no control. So you can also pursue things, but you don't have to tell them that that's what you're doing. You can, go after a career, and you don't have to say this is what I'm doing. Or if they say, why are you missing meetings? I'm just tired. You don't have to say, man, because this is a cult. No, I just got some things going on. Meanwhile, you getting everything together to prepare yourself for later. So don't feel guilty for not telling them everything that they want to know, because this doesn't benefit you at the end of the day. They gonna kick you out on the street with nothing.
True.
I have one more question for you guys. What would be your advice to couples where one member might be waking up and the other member has not? Or how do you break that to your family when you're waking up? Because I've seen so much conversation about don't tell anybody your witness, have this kind of snitch culture. How do you kind of deal with that if you're a couple?
That's all you, babe.
All right. Most importantly is slow down. Think before you react, because emotions are high when you wake up and you just want to dump everything on somebody that's not ready for it. It's not. Think of the same strategy you use to bring somebody into religion is the strategy you use to present them with the information to come out. So you have to put yourself in the shoes of a strong-minded Jehovah's Witness at the height of it. Nobody can say anything against that organization. Nothing. You can have video footage, proof, articles. It does not matter. So read the room. If this person isn't somebody that's kind of halfway in, halfway out, and they're all the way in it, don't dump it as information, but take something like I did with the 144,000.
Ask questions.
Yep. Sometimes
digestible.
You have to sometimes play the fool sometimes. Like, man, I'm not really sure about this. Or even the perfect thing, if you show them an apostate video, that's a trigger. But if you show them a governing body video, it's a little more comfortable. The governing body at court. That's a good one.
Australian Commission.
That's a good one.
That's a good seed to plant right there.
You can show that one right there. Like simply them saying that they're not the only gateway to Jehovah. You can be like, man, I've never watched the Brothers in Court before. Have you?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's not triggering, because we know these people. This isn't some dude with a camera. This is the organization, and you can kind of play like you didn't know this information and show them something like that.
You have to think this is not like this is years, could be years and years of indoctrination.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
this is a big goal that you have
From
here.
a young age too, it's like all people know.
Exactly. This is a huge goal. So like if your goal is to eat a cow, you're not just going to go in and take a big munch out of it. Like no, you're going to chop that thing up into little pieces, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do. Just like you said, slow down. Like you're in the middle of your marathon and you're trying to talk to somebody who's at the beginning of theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to back up.
Yeah, take your time and
Like
act
that.
like you're still a witness.
I gotta thank you guys for dropping these jewels. If someone wants to watch your content, where would they find you on YouTube?
Awaken Truths
Yep.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
on
Yep.
YouTube.
Okay, very good. All right, so thank you so much for spending a few moments with Seeds of Awakening. I want to thank you guys for your journey and for sharing your story with me. Good luck in the future.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
thank you
much.
so
Thanks
much.
for having us.
Appreciate it.